Good evening and welcome to the July 20th, 2015 Jurupa Unified School District Board meeting. We'll start with roll call, please.
President Schmidt.
Here.
Trustee Mendez.
Here.
Trustee Garcia.
Here.
Trustee Johnston.
Here.
Trustee Chard absent.
Thank you. And Mr. Mendez, would you lead us in the flag salute, please?
Sure will, thank you. Please stand for the flag salute. Please join me in our flag salute. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Garcia, would you do our inspiration for tonight, please?
I just wanted to share, I watched a movie a couple of months ago called The Good Lie, and it was about the lost boys and girls of Sudan and kind of the trouble they went through. A lot of them got picked up as childhood soldiers, and they had a rough time of it. And most of them had to endure this 1,000-mile walk to Kenya for refugee camps until they could, immigrate to the United States under a special program. And some of them were there for 13 years, and some of them are still there. But what I really wanted to share with you, what I got from that, was an African proverb that I think really kind of highlights teamwork. When we work together, we do a lot more. And the proverb goes like this. It's, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. So I think it just if we all work together, I think we can go a lot further as a team. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we'll move on to recognitions and recognize trustees Garcia and Johnson. And the two of them recently completed the California School Boards Association Masters in Governance program. It's a certificate program that defines the roles and responsibilities of school boards and provides governance teams with the knowledge and skills to build and support an effective governance structure. And to receive this, they had to participate in 35 hours of intensive training on the role of the governance team in setting the direction of the district, student learning, achievement, and school finance and facilities, as well as human resources, policy and judicial review, collective bargaining, and community relations and advocacy. And we'd like to congratulate you and thank you for completing yours, of being the first two of this group that have completed, and hopefully the other three of us will be completing soon. There were some mix-up with CSBA, so we've got them straightened out now, and I think the rest of us will all be on board.
Thank you.
And next we'll move to public verbal comments. And Sylvia?
First of all, I'd like to thank Denise for her assistance in getting a gate at 21 fixed. However, that gate was broken for a month. With a tire off, with my son having to lift that gate, and it's a long gate, and close that gate. That is how I got injured. I reported a gate over and over again. When I got injured, I reported that gate in April of 2014. That gate did not get fixed till June of 2014. We have Bill Alzick, we have the assistant director of maintenance and operations, we have supervisors, we have all these people that we're supposed to report these to, yet they don't get done in a timely manner. I just got back to my site, which is the county building, Glen Avon South. The whole back was flooded, where it was swampy, and there was mosquitoes back there. Had my kids been there, these are special needs kids, kids that are on wheelchairs, kids that are in diapers, kids that drink bottles or get There is no reason why that should happen. Yet, anyone sounds always gets ignored. Always. The site administrator from Anyone came to my site last week 4 times to come and seek out my sub, which is an employee at Anyone South. She is subbing at my site. To ask her to unlock and code out Anyone. Now, I've been told I cannot step at Anyone. Yet, I can step there when the administrator needs to have her site coded out. When she needs to have somebody go and check the site to make sure it's secure, they use me then. What I did not appreciate, and that's fine, I don't have a problem doing it, but administrators or this board, not this board, but the administrative board has issues with me going down there, which is ridiculous that on-call would have to go code out when it's right next door to my place. I don't have a problem doing that. However, I do have a problem when this administrator called my sub in front of another teacher a chicken because she wouldn't code it out. I did not code it out until I got permission to do so. And that's all she wanted. She wanted a directive that it was okay for her to code out that building, which she didn't get. And I was proud that she stood her ground. But to have an administrator call you a chicken because you're trying to cover your back is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous and very unprofessional. Now, I understand there will be trucks purchased, which is very good because then we don't have to pay gas mileage. However, when new trucks start purchased, I have seen supervisors, directors, driving those trucks when those trucks should be driven by maintenance workers, by grounds workers that are carrying all this equipment during this hot time during the summer. If their truck breaks down, well, it's an old truck. That happens. It shouldn't have to happen when there are new trucks. And people like the assistant director for maintenance is driving a new truck when he just goes to site when he needs it. He's not there all the time as our people are. I mean, I think this administration needs to care more, and this board needs to care more about the employees and not so much about the administration. We are the ones that are out there. Then when an injury occurs, we're looked at like we're criminals because we wanted it to happen. You know what? I'm too old to want to have surgery on my shoulder. Why would I cause an injury to happen on purpose? That is ridiculous. So I think this board needs to make sure that this administration gets these work orders done in a timely manner. There is no reason why a gate should take 2 months to be fixed. Or a sub should have to lift up a gate because the tire is off, and I, in turn, have to call Denise, which I'm sure I'll hear about, that I called Denise. But if you don't get no action from your supervisor or directors, what are we supposed to do? So if you guys can look into that, I would really appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, we'll move into administrative reports and written communications. And the first item is report on Saturday school program. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. So as we have in the last few years, we offered our Saturday school enrichment program during the 14-15 school year. And just as a sort of year-end total, you can see that when our students are absent, we don't receive ADA for them. So this is an opportunity during those 8 days for them to come in, receive some enrichment, some rewarding educational experience, and then for the district to recover that lost ADA from absences. During the 14-15 school year, we recovered $204,166 in ADA. And to do that, we incurred a cost of $105,000, paying teachers and gathering curriculum and things like that. So, so our total net profit, I guess you would say, would be $105,097. We had about 4,900 student attendance days that were generated during the program, so it went very well.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll move to the Williams Settlement Quarterly Uniform Complaint Report Summary. Mr. Dabrowski.
0 complaints.
Thank you. And item C is consider nomination for the CSBA 2015 Legislative Award Program. Mr. Ducharme.
Thank you, President Schmidt. Each year, CSBA asks for nominations of legislators who have done particular legislation for school issues in California. And if the board would like to nominate anybody, the deadline is September 11th, 2015. So the board may, by consensus, nominate someone.
All right. Thank you. So if anyone has someone that they would like to nominate, if they can send it to Mr. Ducharme or Denise, then we can put it on the agenda. Are there any other administrative reports and written
There
communications?
are none.
Thank you. Next, we'll move on to the action session to approve routine action items by consent, items A 1 through 14.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Mendez, a second by Mr. Garcia. Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes. Thank you. Motion passes 4-0. Item B is to award the contract to Renaud Clark for architectural and engineering services for Harupa Valley High School Innovative Lab Project. Mr. Hanson.
Yes, administration is requesting approval to award a contract to Renaud Clark Architect Planners for architectural and engineering services for Harupa Valley High School's Innovation Lab, that's the C Wing. The project will be funded through Measure EE funds, and administration recommends the board award the contract to Renaud Clark for these services at the cost of $264,500.
Move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion to approve by Mrs. Johnston, a second by Mr. Mendez. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes. Next, we have item C to award of bid number 15-16-01 MO Stone Avenue Elementary School Site Preparation.
And administration is requesting that item be pulled tonight. I don't know what happened there.
Clicked in. All right, so item C will be tabled until the first August board meeting. We'll move on to item D, award of bid number 15-16-01 TE, the network infrastructure upgrades at Jurupa Middle School. Mrs. Ford.
On June 22nd, the board authorized staff to solicit bids to upgrade network infrastructure at Jurupa Middle. 2 bids were submitted and opened on July 15th, and Extended Communication was the lowest bid at $29,230. The network infrastructure will be funded through capital facilities funds. Administration recommends the board award bid number 15-16-01 TE, network infrastructure upgrades at Jurupa Middle School to Extenda Communications in the amount of $29,230.
Move for approval.
Second. Have a motion by Mr. Mendez and a second by Mrs. Johnston. Any questions or comments?
I do have one question.
Yes, Ms. Johnson.
This is just an upgrade. We currently have everything there.
Yes, this is actually to extend out to the back portables, and there are 2 portables that are being put in place this summer. So it will be to include those portables in the current network infrastructure.
And what's the time frame for this to be completed?
Before school starts.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item E, award contract for carpet services at various sites. Mrs. Ford.
Administration is requesting approval to contract with Continental Flooring to install carpeting in 19 classrooms at the school sites listed in the agenda item. The pricing of $82,908 includes all the materials and labor and is based on JUSD's piggyback bid 13-14-12 MO carpet and tile services. Administration recommends the board award a contract for carpet services at the listed school sites in the amount to Continental Flooring Incorporated in the amount of $82,908.
Make a motion for approval.
Motion by Mr. Mendez, a second by Mrs. Johnston. Any questions or comments?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
So Mrs. Ford, these are the carpet tiles?
These are the carpet tiles,
That's
yes,
what
sir.
we'll be using pretty much standard?
Yes, we've standardized on the carpet tiles.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 4-0. Item F, approves submittal of summer 2015 release of consolidation application. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. This is just one of the standard collection windows of the consolidated application. It's sort of post LCAP approval. We were notified that we qualify for funding under Title I, Title II, and Title III. So we recommend the board approve submittal of the summer 2015 release of the consolidated application.
Thank you.
Make a motion for approval, and I have a question.
Motion by Mr. Mendez,
Second?
a second by Mr. Garcia. Mr. Mendez.
I was just curious, in the section of the application that was submitted, where it talks about reaching out to nonprofit public school participation, were there any or are there any that needed to be contacted in our area? I know that when I worked for the district, there was only like usually one that wanted to be considered, and I'm not sure what the status of it is.
It's still pretty much the same thing.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item G, approve submittal of the 2015-2016 Agricultural Career Technical Education Incentive Grant Proposals. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. This is our Ag Incentive Grant proposal. That's something we go through every year and submit. We're submitting for $10,452 for Rubidoux and $10,348 for Jurupa Valley, and we recommend that you approve that submission.
Thank you.
Move for approval?
Second.
A motion by Mr. Garcia, a second by Mr. Mendez. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item H, approve adult education course list for the 2015-2016 school year. Mr. Dabrowski.
Thank you. This is our proposed course list for the 15-16 school year, and courses proposed to offer include ESL classes, citizenship, conversational English, an online GED prep class, some computer and math tutoring, and then where it says general studies classes, that's all in the diploma track. So those are students who are working towards gaining their high school diploma. So we recommend you approve the 15-16 adult education program offerings.
Move to approve.
Second, and I have a couple of questions.
Motion by Mrs. Johnston, a second by Mr. Mendez. Mr. Mendez, question?
Yes, looking at the list of course offerings, there's quite a few course offerings there, and are they all going to be provided at a central location? I believe some may be offered in other locations.
Some of the courses, like the ESL classes, are offered in multiple locations around the district. It's, some of our families have an easier time getting to, like on the west end of the district, things like that. When you look at where it says general studies courses and you see a whole offering of courses, those aren't each a separate course on its own. That's housed in the diploma track course with a few teachers who tutor students in a variety of subjects at the same time. So it at least the general studies portion might be a little deceiving. There are a lot of courses that students may need as they finish up their diploma, but they're taught in sort of a consolidated location.
I would imagine there's quite a few people that would be interested in the classes that are being offered. Do we have any idea as to what the number of participants might be drawn to?
I don't have that number, but I'd be happy to bring back like a last year summary of how many partook of those classes.
That would be great. And then one last question. Is this linked at all in any way to that initiative that we attended, you and I, in terms of districts providing coordinated pathways and opportunities for adults in the general community, not just in Jurupa? So is this linked in any way through some of these offerings?
Well, these offerings are sort of the typical offerings that we've had for the last several years. We're in the process of moving in that direction towards expanding our offerings and creating some pathways that include adult offerings that will change the way we do business with adult ed. But these particular courses are what we have had for the last few years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item I, approve purchase of technology equipment for Alex online math program. Mrs. Ford.
Administration is requesting approval to purchase technology equipment to support the ALEX online math program. ALEX is an individualized assessment and learning system that delivers online, personalized, and adaptive instruction. And the access to, for ALEX, access to additional technology devices is needed to implement. And the devices and equipment needed include 330 student laptops, 330 headsets, 19 mobile carts, and 13 wireless access points for a cost of $323,602.29. This is part of our adoption, our newly adopted math program, the McGraw-Hill program, and the purchase will be funded through LCFF supplemental and concentration funds. Administration recommends the board approve the purchase of technology equipment for the ALEX online math program from CDWG, HP, and Vector Resources in the total amount of $323,602.29.
Make a motion for approval.
Have a motion by Mr. Mendez,
Second.
a second by Mrs. Johnston. Questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item J, approve the purchase of 2 new special education buses. Mrs. Ford.
Administration is requesting approval to purchase 2 new special education school buses from Bus West. The buses operate actually, there's a correction here. One operates on compressed natural gas. The other one is a gasoline bus. Unfortunately, the small bus, the only way we're able to purchase that type of bus is in gasoline form. So that is a correction in the agenda. These are needed to meet the needs of our special education students for transportation. The purchase will be funded through unrestricted transportation budget.
Thank you.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mendez, second by Mrs. Johnston. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Yes.
Is this the only 2 buses? Are we replacing buses we have already, or are we adding?
We're actually adding.
Okay. And so will this be adequate then? I know buses age, and how are we as far as our fleet?
We actually are down to, we're actually down to 1 bus that we don't have on a regular basis. And typically we like to have a couple of buses, which is one of the reasons why we want to go ahead and get the 2. So this is a mid-sized bus, and then it's also the small bus.
Right. What's the lifespan of these expected?
I would
10,
have,
12 years maybe?
at least
At
that
least.
long.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item K, approve purchase of IMAX for Patriot High School. Mrs. Ford.
These are IMAX for the 15 IMAX for Patriot High School's CTE program. They're used in video production, web design, and computer graphics design courses. And the IMAX do meet the district standard for our video production equipment. The cost of the iMacs and a hard drive for them is $20,881.75, and it will be funded through restricted Perkins CTE funds.
Make a motion
Move
for
to
approval.
approve.
Second?
Motion by Mrs. Johnston, a second by Mr. Mendez. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt,
Yes.
Mendez,
Yes.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item L is to approve the purchase of replacement projectors. Mrs. Ford.
As part of the district's technology replacement cycle, administration is requesting approval to purchase 100 Hitachi projectors to replace 9-plus-year-old projectors at various school sites. The purchasing and technology department have worked together to develop the district standards, and Hitachi is the district standard for projectors.
Move
Pricing,
to approve.
thank you.
Motion by Mrs. Johnston, a second by Mr. Garcia. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt,
Yes.
Trustee Mendez,
Yes.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item M is to approve the purchase of HP laptops and carts for Rivercrest Preparatory Online School. Mrs. Ford.
As we expand Rivercrest into a middle school program as well as the high school program, we are requesting approval to purchase 10 HP laptops and add 4 HP mobile carts for the school at a cost of $14,600, and the purchase will be funded through unrestricted funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Mrs. Johnston and a second by Mr. Garcia. Any questions or comments?
Yes, I do. The laptops, are they just going to be used on site, or will they be allowed to be taken home by students?
Right now, the laptops are just used on site.
Thank you.
And I just want to note that the 4 charging carts each have 20 notebooks in them. It's not that much just for carts.
Well,
Correct.
actually, the 4 carts are just carts themselves, but they hold up to 20 laptops. And the reason that we're buying 4 carts for just 10 laptops is because we do not have any carts there currently for all the laptops that they have existing.
All right, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt,
Yes.
Trustee Mendez,
Yes.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item N is to approve the purchase of student laptops and related equipment for Rustic Lane Elementary School. Mrs. Ford.
Administration is requesting approval to purchase 20 HP laptops with mice, headsets, and a mobile cart and a wireless access point at a cost of $23,065.78. This will be used at Rustic Lane for students to use for the Common Core implementation as well as the CASP testing, and the purchase will be funded through LCFF supplemental and concentration funds.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Mendez,
Second.
second by Mrs. Johnston. Any questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt,
Yes.
Trustee Mendez,
Yes.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item O, approve purchase of full-color digital marquee at Patriot High School. Mrs. Ford.
Administration is requesting approval to purchase a full-color LED display for Patriot High School. This would be located in the quad area of the school, so internal in the school. And it would reduce the number of printed flyers and help the campus to become greener. It would be used to promote campus events as well as initiatives on campus. And we did solicit several quotes, and Dragonfly signs met the requirements, and they were the lowest cost at $18,989.64. And the purchase will be funded through LCFF supplemental and concentration funds, as well as donations from Patriots class of 2015 and class of 2016.
Thank you.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Garcia
Second.
and a second by Mr. Mendez. Any questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question. Now, this is going to be in that quad section there of the school then?
Yes.
And so it's where the highest traffic is, but students coming and going throughout the day.
Right, so students would see this every day.
And my question was this, will the other schools also be putting something similar at their sites, or how did this come about just being something for Patriot High School?
It came about because the class of 2015 wanted to donate this to the school, so that's what they raised their funds for, and the class of 2016 said, we'll help you. And so they got involved in raising funds as well. And then they were just shy of being able to support that, so the LCFF supplemental concentration will support that for their goal of being able to provide this signage in the quad area.
Thank you.
I have a question. Mrs. Ford, is this similar to the one that's at Jurupa Valley in the office, or it's much larger?
This is more like the marquees that are in the front of the schools.
Okay,
And so it'll be about that size, but this will be a full color display.
all right, thank you.
All right. Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt,
Yes.
Trustee Mendez,
Yes.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes,
Trustee Johnson.
Yes,
Motion passes 4-0. Item P, approve purchase of furniture for various school sites. Mrs. Ford.
Administration is requesting approval to purchase classroom furniture to replace broken furniture as well as to accommodate for growth of new classrooms across the district. The growth is primarily due to our TK3 grade span adjustment and new classes for that, as well as the movement of portables that we're doing this summer, as well as the implementation of some new CTE programs. Pricing is based upon our own piggyback bid, 13-14-01 PU, which is district furniture, and the cost for the furniture is $350,828.05. The purchase will be funded through both unrestricted and capital facilities funds.
Make a motion for approval.
Have a motion by Mr. Mendez.
I'll make the second.
And a second by Ms. Johnston. Any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
Mrs.
Question, oh, go ahead.
Okay, okay.
After you.
So you mentioned TK through 3, right? Now, as far as TK, is there an accurate way for us to project, for you to project how many students we'll have at each school site, or?
We contract with a company called Decision Insight that actually looks at census data and looks at births in the area and in each of our boundary areas. So they do give us a projection each year of how many TK students we can expect to have. Sometimes it's right on and sometimes it's a little bit off, but they do give us that, so we're not just guessing.
Yeah, the reason I asked, I was just wondering, I mean, people aren't required to send their kids to school that early, are they? Or, I mean, some do and some don't. So you really don't know, right, what the,
Right, exactly.
okay, thank you.
Mrs. Johnston, you had a question?
We did some work at Sky Country Elementary office. Is that separate from this, the office furniture for Sky Country Elementary?
Yes, this is all classroom furniture.
And this is all for classrooms?
Yes.
Yeah, I looked at this one and I think I came out to about $18,000 per school. Does that sound right? Is what we're spending, and I didn't really think that was very bad. I don't know how many
Yeah.
classrooms we're talking about, but it's less than $20,000 for each school that you're furnishing.
Right.
So are we replacing furniture in every classroom?
No, this would be, what we do is at the end of each school year, we identify the furniture that needs to be replaced, and we work with the custodial staff to ensure that the furniture that we don't have any furniture that could be used and moved from one location to another. And then if, based on that inventory, what we are lacking, we will buy replacement furniture for anything that's broken that doesn't have a lifetime warranty. All of our furniture now that we're purchasing has a lifetime warranty. But in the past, that wasn't always the case. So if there's furniture that we need to replace, we do the replacements there. And then for the growth tools, we equip the full classroom with furniture. And that is a much larger investment than our replacement furniture.
Okay, thank you very much.
I had a question, but I think you just answered it. My question was of the durability of the furniture, because I know, yes, in the past, we would purchase items that did not last us very long, and we'd have to replace them within a year or two sometimes. So now, you say it's a lifetime warranty now?
Yes.
And so if, unless it's intentionally damaged or something to that effect, then it's replaced if it's just normal
If it's just normal
usage?
wear and tear, then it has a lifetime warranty, so we just basically let the manufacturer know and tell them how many that we have, and then they replace them.
That's fantastic, because that used to be a problem sometimes. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please. Yes.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Item Q, approve purchase of graphing calculators for Patriot High School. Mrs. Ford.
Administration is requesting approval to purchase graphing calculators for the math department at Patriot High School. 2 quotes were solicited, and the Bach Company provided the lowest quote at a cost of $14,460, and that's for 150 graphing calculators. The calculators will be purchased using unrestricted funds, and administration recommends the board approve the purchase of the graphing calculators for Patriot High School.
Make a motion for approval?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mendez, a second by Mr. Garcia. Any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Yes.
So are these calculators, do the students get to keep those, or do they remain in the classroom? How does that work?
The calculators are typically checked out to the students so that they can use them, and that way if they need to take them home for homework, they can use them for that as well.
Okay, thanks.
Now, one question. That, if they take them home, they lose them, damage them, do they have to replace them?
Just as if if they do the same with a textbook, they would then be charged, and that charge would be put on their record, and then they would have to clear that charge before graduating.
All right. Roll call vote, please. Yes.
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 Motion approved 4-0. Item R, approve purchase of Vex Po kit for Jurupa Valley High School. Mrs. Ford.
Administration is requesting approval to purchase 8 VexPo kits for Jurupa Valley's Project Lead the Way engineering program. Pricing for the VexPo kits is $13,564.80 and will be funded through LCFF supplemental and concentration funds.
Make a motion for approval?
Have a
Second.
motion by Mr. Mendez, a second by Mr. Garcia. Questions or comments? Roll call vote, please. Yes.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Item S, approve purchase of vehicle wraps for district delivery trucks. Mrs. Ford.
And we are requesting approval to purchase vehicle wraps for 6 district delivery trucks. The vehicle wraps will be used to promote and bring awareness to various district educational initiatives and programs. And quotes were solicited, and 2 vendors provided responses. Gator Wraps was the lowest quote at $15,012, and the purchase will be funded through unrestricted funds.
Move for approval.
Motion by Mr. Garcia,
Second?
second by Mr. Mendez. Questions or
A
comments?
quick question. Mrs. Ford, so I know we're working on a new logo. Is that going to be done? These wraps are going to be done after we get the new logo?
Yes, so we would be using the new logo on these vehicles.
Okay, thanks.
And a question, will there be a process for selecting the items that will be displayed on there?
We've worked with Ed Services to select those initiatives and those programs that they would like to highlight. And so after this is approved, then we will send that information over to Gator Wraps, and Gator Wraps will actually develop the designs and then bring that back to us for approval.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please. Yes.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Item T, adopt resolution number 2016-02, establish its Community Facilities District Number 13, and to authorize the levy of a special tax within said Community Facilities District. Mrs. Ford.
We actually brought this to you back in October, of 2014. And it was such a length of time before we could actually move forward with it that we are now bringing it back to you again. So you get to approve this twice. Frontier Communities has presented an offer to enter into a school facilities mitigation and funding agreement for the formation of CFD number 13. This is in the area that's above Sunny Slope, that's north of the 60 freeway and above Granite Hill Ridge. We estimate funds of $1.6 million from CFD number 13, and they will be used to accommodate students generated from the new residential development of 106 homes. Tonight, the board is being asked to adopt a resolution for the establishment of CFD number 13 and authorize levy of special tax within the CFD.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Mendez, a second by Mr. Garcia. Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt,
Yes.
Trustee Mendez,
Yes.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item U,
Yeah, this on November 1st, 2012, the State Allocation Board approved emergency regulations impacting how the Office of Public School Construction processes new construction and modernization project applications for funding once the bond authority has been exhausted. These regulations establish an acknowledged list for project applications received after bond authority. It's the district's best interest to submit any application for funding in the event that the future state money or future state bond authority becomes available. And administration recommends the board approve resolution number 2016-03, support of applications for eligibility, determination, and funding in the school facility program when bond authority is exhausted.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
have a motion by Mr. Mendez, a second by Mr. Garcia. Questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt,
Yes.
Trustee Mendez,
Yes.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. And we need to go back to item T. And Mr. Mendez, you need to read the proceedings, please.
Proceedings for CFD number 13, orally acknowledged receipt by clerk of the board of a petition requesting the establishment of a community facilities district submitted by FH2 LLC, California Limited Liability Company, DBA Frontier Communities, as owners of certain parcels of real property within the district dated July 9th, 2015. Motion to adopt resolution of intention of the Board of Education of
You
Haruka.
don't need to do that. We already did that part, just
Oh.
number 1.
Thank you.
All right. Item V, adopt resolution number 2016-04, appointing the State Allocation Board and Office of Public School Construction designated district representatives. Mr. Hanson.
The district board is required to identify district representatives that will certify documents and act as liaisons with the State Allocation Board and Office of Public School Instruction. Essentially, what's the people we have on there are no longer here, and so we need to update that list. Administration has identified Mrs. Ford and myself, Trenton Hanson, as appropriate staff to act as liaisons between the district and these agencies. The administration recommends the board adopt this resolution.
Move to approve.
Second?
Motion by Mrs. Johnston, second by Mr. Mendez. Questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt,
Yes.
Trustee Mendez,
Yes.
Trustee Garcia,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item W, adopt resolution number 2016-05, resolution of the Board of Education of the Jurupa Unified School District authorizing reimbursement of certain advances on behalf of Community Facilities District Number 8 of Jurupa Unified School District. Mrs. Ford.
It may be necessary for the district to advance its own funds, including general fund monies, in order to acquire property or construct school facilities as authorized under the Mello-Roos Act, terms described in CFD number 8. In order for the district to make such an advance and to reimburse itself from future bond proceeds issued by CFD number 8. The tax code requires the board adopt a resolution stating its intention to make such reimbursements. The resolution is included in the backup materials. So we haven't issued any bonds on CFD number 8, but we have formed that CFD, and so this is just allowing us to be able to be reimbursed if we do have expenses that could be paid by that CFD.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Mendez, a second by Mrs. Johnston. Questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item X, adopt resolution number 2016-06, resolution of the Board of Education of the Haruka Unified School District authorizing reimbursement of certain advances on behalf of Community Facilities District Number 11 of Haruka Unified School District. Mrs. Ford?
This is the same thing, but it is for CFD number 11.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mendez, second by Mrs. Johnston. Questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item Y, approve at a first reading revised board policy and administrative regulation 0460, local control accountability plan. Mrs. Ford.
Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 0460 Local Control and Accountability Plan have been revised to include new language regarding the increase or improvement in services for unduplicated students. It also includes revised language regarding public review and input, as well as other minor changes addressing the requirements to develop and maintain a 3-year local control and accountability plan. A copy of the current revised policies are included in your backup materials.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Garcia, second by Mr. Mendez. Questions or comments?
I have a question. In the document, it makes reference to the academic performance index and statewide assessments. I would imagine that's just a sort of a placeholder for things that may be pertinent as the state progresses in developing their assessment system at the state level.
Yes, that's correct. That will be changing, and we'll probably be bringing it back when it does.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item Z, approve at a first reading revised board policy, administrative regulation, and attachment A, 1330, use of school facilities. Mrs. Ford.
I make a motion.
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Garcia, a second by Mr. Mendez. Questions or comments?
In terms of the usage by the community, there's a process, right, for them to go through requesting facilities, and certain groups would be exempt, or would everyone be charged the fees that are stipulated?
Certain groups will be exempt, and those are listed in the
No,
policy.
Just those groups that are listed there? Okay.
Correct. Yeah, and the rest of the groups would be charged, and it would be the same fees. And we do have our use of facilities now online, so they can be accessed online and submit a request for using facilities and even see what's available.
And then just curious to know, to what degree do district communities or groups make use of our facilities, all the way from cafeterias that are listed and are indicated on there to playing fields and gymnasiums and everything else?
We have use of facility request constantly.
Really?
So, yes,
Wow.
absolutely. So
So,
there's quite activity going on out there in using our facilities. Sometimes we're even double booked, which this new system won't allow us to do that. So
Well,
we're
that's good
happy
to know.
about that.
That's good to know. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item AA, approve at a first reading new board policy 3541.2, transportation for students with disabilities. Mrs. Ford.
Make a motion.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Garcia, second by Mr. Mendez. Questions or comments? Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
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 Motion passes 4-0. Item AB, approve at a first reading revised board policy and administrative regulation 5141.4, child abuse prevention and reporting. Mr. Dabrowski.
Make a motion for approval.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Mendez, second by Mr. Garcia. Questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question. The policy had one section that was stricken over, but it dealt primarily with the district's responsibility to train staff in terms of reporting procedures and, liability and so forth. Is that because that's found in another section of our policies, for example, in under staffing rather than in this particular policy?
Yes, the requirement changed to a mandated annual training for staff, so that old language was stricken and new language was added so that it's required to be done every year.
Oh.
And that's a change in law.
Thank you.
All right, roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item AC, act on student discipline cases. We have one approved readmission case, 12-117.
Make motion?
Second?
Motion by Mr. Garcia, second by Mr. Mendez. Roll call vote, please.
President Schmidt?
Yes.
Trustee Mendez?
Yes.
Trustee Garcia?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. Item AD is board member comments and committee reports. Mr. Mendez, we'll start with you.
I would like to start congratulating my colleagues, the first year on our board to finish and complete the Masters in Government. Congratulations. That's an awesome thing to have done. And as our president said, we're looking forward to be right on your heels completing that now that we've had things straightened out. Because we're supposed to have gone in June, right, to finish things up, and things sort of didn't happen.
Yes.
But anyway, we're looking forward to completing the program just as you did, and I think it's a wonderful thing to have done. So congratulations. And the only other thing I have is I'm looking forward to attending the summer school graduation on Wednesday night, I believe, and then the back to school session with the administrative team on the 23rd, Thursday. So looking forward to those two events. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Garcia.
Yeah, I'd like to also, I'm looking forward to those two events that Mr. Mendez just mentioned this week. Had an opportunity 4th of July to ride in the school bus with some of the folks here, and that was a good time that day. Other than that, I just wanted to make a couple of comments, and based on Mrs. Olguin's comments tonight. And I think that the questions I wanted to have, I think, for you, Mr. Elliott, Mr. Deshawn, just kind of looking for, do we have policies for fixing things in a certain time? Is it based on priority? Because I understand sometimes, I'm not sure if school's in session right now either, so that may also play into that. And I know the mosquitoes, we just had quite a bit of rain last night, I think, so. And I know we do have a program for that too, but just kind of looking for, what kind of policies we have in place, and how do we prioritize those things. That's all I had for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Johnston.
Had a great time the 4th of July with Mr. Garcia, with Mrs. Smith, and Mr. Deshawn, and Mrs. Ford, and it was a great day. We threw out a lot of candy, and we had a little bit of fun, and it wasn't too hot. Let's see. Very happy to see the ag grant, and also there was a commendation or recognition for directors, athletic directors, and congratulations to them. I'll be gone until the end of the month, so I will not see you until August board meeting.
Thank you. And I had a chance today to meet 2 of the 3 new student board members, and so we'll have a good group, 2 brand new and 1 whose sister was here 2 to 3 years ago, so we should have all girls this time. It'll be a good group, and they'll be joining us shortly after school gets back in session, and things are happening quick, and it'll be here before we know it. And with that, we will close this evening's meeting. Thank you for coming.